What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of A Dietitian's Take. It's been a little bit. It's been a few weeks since I recorded a podcast episode. Been a little bit of a break from the podcast. Just been so busy over these past 3 to 4 weeks. If you don't know, if you haven't been on, we haven't really posted a lot about it. Posted a little bit of like couple of clips and snippets on my Instagram story and my Facebook story, but my wife and I, we did actually recently just purchase a house about a month ago, and we had a lot of kind of renovations or remodeling, I guess you could say, in the home, mostly just painting. So we repainted a lot on the main floor and on the upper floor. So we wanted to do a lot of that before we officially moved in. That way all of our stuff wasn't in the way, right? Because trying to paint around all the furniture, everything that we had would have been a pain. So we wanted to get a lot of that done beforehand. That way also we wouldn't have to worry about, we cover the floors and everything, wouldn't have to worry about getting paint on everything. So we're doing that for the past 3 to 4 weeks. And a lot of any kind of extra time that I had, I was trying to spend to get that done as fast as possible. That way we would be ready to move in. So I was still coaching clients, as always, still putting, my everything into them. But some of the extra stuff, extracurricular stuff, the podcast and that got put out a little bit on the back burner for a period of time. But now we're back. We officially moved in last weekend. And obviously still living a little bit out of boxes. Still have a lot of stuff in our garage we have to put away. But we got the main stuff in and have my new office all set up, which I'm super excited about. If you're watching this on YouTube, or if you end up watching any of the clips that I might post on social media, you probably will see a different background behind me versus what a previous podcast looked like. So just really excited to finally be moved in. We love the home. We love the house. We love the location. We love where we're at. We're just excited to finally be in here. And I'm excited to finally have, the new office to record stuff in, because my previous office, my office was like a quarter, maybe a third of the space. And then a quarter or a third of the space was for our dog's cage. We had some other random things hanging up on the wall or things in the corner. We had a bunch of Aiden stuff in the one corner, his his pack and play and other toys. And this office is just dedicated to my office, which is very nice to just have my own space. It's so weird and crazy, and this isn't what this podcast episode is supposed to be about, but how much your environment can impact how you feel, how you think. Like if you are trying to work from home, and a lot of people who work from home probably know what I'm talking about. If things are cluttered, or if things are scattered, if there's random stuff that's not related to work around you, it's like your brain subconsciously picks up on those things, and it makes it harder to focus. So now that I have this designated space where it's okay, I come in here, I close the door, maybe I keep the door open, but come in here, work. I'm thinking about coaching. I'm thinking about how I can, provide better content for you guys. And it's just a totally different headspace versus having all these other things that are kind of sitting in the same room. And another really exciting part about the house is we have a nice extra basement room that we ended up turning into a gym. So if you didn't know, we had a squat rack and a deadlift platform and a couple of dumbbells, but one adjustable dumbbell that can fit a variety of weight on there. We had that, but we had it in our garage, and it was fine. It worked perfectly fine. It was great. Definitely blessed to have that. But when it comes to recording content in a gym, maybe exercise tutorials or exercise tips, it just wasn't a great background and in a dirty garage, right? But now we have this separate room, so it's going to be very cool to be able to use that to record more videos, more helpful tips for the gym, more demonstrations maybe, with just a nice background and everything. And so just also really excited just to have a nice room dedicated just to the gym. Same thing with the garage, right? There's a bunch of random stuff in here, and now this room is going to be not my office, but this other room is going to be just straight the gym. And we're just very excited. But yeah, we're here. So with that said, podcasts will be regularly uploaded again. Facebook Lives, if you're in our Facebook group, are going to be regularly done again. So really excited to just kind of get back into the swing of things after taking a lot of time off kind of over the past month from like the extra work stuff versus, our clients just being taken care of. So this podcast episode, I wanted to talk about this conversation I was having with the client this week in one of her check-ins. And let me read actually what she put on her check-in form. Because it will make a little bit more sense and provide a little bit more context. But her response to one of these questions, which was like, what do you feel you need from me as a coach to be more successful? And this was her response word for word. I quote, I think I need to encourage myself to reach out more during the week to help stay motivated and on track. I tend to kind of just glide through the days of the week and not have such purposeful intention every day to really, really focus on my nutrition. So, and that's the end of the quote. So I really wanted to focus on that last sentence where I tend to just glide through the days of the week and not have purposeful intention every day to really hit my goals. That's the part I really want to focus on with this episode, because this is so important. And I think it's one of the biggest reasons why people don't see results and they don't even realize it. And so this was something that really sparked me too when she said this, because this is how I've been feeling over this past month with the new house, with all the stuff we were doing there, with just the lack of time. There was stuff, I think I had to take Aiden to a doctor's appointment at some point. And then just honestly, not even the past month, but thinking about the past 8 months, really since Aiden was born, I had been kind of feeling like this. Maybe not necessarily with my nutrition goals, but with other things that I want to get done, personal development stuff, business stuff even. Like I had been feeling very reactive day to day. Like my days have been so chaotic since, Aiden was born. Obviously, your life gets flipped upside down when you have a child, right? Somebody else, something new to take care of that you didn't previously have to take care of. But for the first 4 months after Aiden was born, he was at home and I was obviously working from home. And my wife, she had 6 weeks off. But after that 6-week period, she ended up having to go back to work. And so I was at home with Aiden throughout the day. And a lot of the days in the first, I don't know how many weeks, like he was with me pretty much all day. And it was still like I was still able to get work done because he was napping quite a bit. But then as he got older, obviously he stopped napping as much and the naps got shorter and shorter. So then my mother-in-law helped out a lot, and that really was like a game changer for me compared to where I was before with having him for full days, because I was able to take him over to her house halfway through the day around noon. And then I would have, maybe 5 to 6 hours, depending on when I had to go pick him up to like really knock out more uninterrupted work. But even then, like my schedule was still thrown off because I'm somebody who I am far more productive in the morning. So having him in the mornings was a little tough because that was like my productive time mentally. And then in the afternoons, like I had that time, but I'm not as sharp in the afternoon versus in the mornings, especially when it comes to like creating content. I am creative in the afternoon, but not as creative as in the morning. So it was just different. And then, I wouldn't be able to necessarily plan out my days like hour by hour because I never knew when he was necessarily going to wake up. Sometimes he'd wake up at 7. Sometimes he'd wake up at 9. Sometimes he'd wake up at 8, right? Like I could get a general sense of what I want to accomplish in the morning, but I wasn't as structured as what it was before he was born, right? So I found like since he was born, my days were very just like, okay, wake up, what do I need to get done? What do I need to hurry up and do before he wakes up? What do I need to do? I need to wake up. I need to brush my teeth, get dressed, have breakfast myself, take the dog out, get the dog food ready to go. Then I have to try to sit down and try to cram in as much work as possible before he wakes up. Oh, shoot, he woke up early this morning in the middle of my breakfast, so I hadn't been able to take the dog out, but I got to get him because he's crying, and just chaos, right? And very, very reactive to like what needs done in that specific moment, and not as much like purposeful intention throughout the day. And that kind of carried on, as for the first 4 months. And then once we put him in daycare at like month 4-ish, things definitely got better, because then I was able to, take him to daycare early in the morning, and then I had the whole day to kind of like plan out. But even then I still was like, it was almost like I was kind of recovering, like almost like jet lag, in a sense, like recovering and like, okay, now I have this more free time in the morning. What do I do with it? Like I lost how to be productive in the morning because I was so reactive and everything for those 4 months that I kind of like forgot, okay, what do I normally do at 9 a.m. when I work? Like, what is my normal schedule? What did it look like 4 months ago? And then, obviously this house situation kind of threw us for a loop, or threw me for a loop, and threw everyone for a loop with just more stuff that needed to get done. So then even then, my schedule got kind of thrown off. And, I share all this context just to say, like, the past 8 months, I've really been very reactive with my days from the very beginning. Like, I just wake up and just like, okay, what needs done, what needs attended to, and just try to get things done. And then I'll sit down and be like, okay, I'm sitting down for work. Like, obviously I know what clients I check in with every single day. That's easy. That's the easy part. But like other stuff like content, Facebook Lives, emails, all this stuff, creating a new resource or something, those things were not planned out and haven't been planned out. And they were kind of slipping through the cracks, and I wasn't doing as much as what I had originally planned to do with that kind of stuff. And that's the same analogy. And there's so many like good analogies when it comes to business and nutrition, but that's the same concept of what this client was kind of talking about, struggling with, where like she's just kind of going through her days and her weeks without having like purposeful intention of what each day is going to look like. And I've had a bunch of conversations with other clients about this too recently, within the past week or two, who they feel like they're kind of like lacking motivation or lacking direction each day, and they just don't know why they can't really get on track. But then when we dig deeper, we realize that they're just going about their days with no kind of like planning at all, with no intention. They just kind of wake up and they have to hurry up and get ready. They have to get the kids ready. They grab something to eat really quick, get out the door, go to work. And then, they, work for a few hours, and all of a sudden it's lunch. They go to the cafeteria and don't even think about, what they plan to have for lunch, and then are just presented with these options. Choose something, and then like, oh shoot, I forgot to track my breakfast and lunch. And then they have to go back and try to remember what they ate. And sometimes we don't always remember everything, or we don't get the portion size correctly, or maybe because we are rushing, we didn't weigh and measure something out. So then when we input it, it's not actually what we had. And just very like, you're always trying to play catch up almost. And I think a big part of that comes down to like, we need to be more intentional with the start of our day. And I think when I say that, a lot of people think, well, like I don't have time in the beginning of my day to be, super intentional. But I truly think everybody in some way can find 30 minutes minimum in the beginning of their day to have that quiet time to sit and think through. You don't even have to write it down. Like, you don't have to get out a journal. You don't have to get out a piece of paper, but just simply sit there and think to yourself, okay, what do I need to accomplish today? Or what do I want to accomplish today? What is a goal that's important to me that I'm working towards long term? What things do I need to do today to get to that long-term goal? And then how am I going to do those things? Like, just ask those 3 questions, like in the beginning of the day. What's my long-term goal? What do I need to accomplish or do today to get closer to that goal? How do I accomplish or do those things? Just those 3 questions. And even just you taking that, and it might not even have to be 30 minutes. It can be 15 minutes that you sit there and just kind of think to yourself those things. But it puts your goals on the forefront of your mind. Number 2, it reminds you of the actions that you have to take. So those are kind of on the forefront of your mind. And number 3, it gives you an opportunity to think through like what kind of obstacles or barriers you might run into throughout the day that might get in the way, and gives you even just a couple of minutes to think through, okay, this is how I'm going to approach it. Like for example, maybe, your goal is weight loss. That's your long-term goal. So you're like, okay, that's my long-term goal is I want to lose 20 pounds. The actions I have to take is I need to hit my calorie range of 2,000 to 2,200 calories. That's, what my coach has given me for a calorie deficit, for a fat loss phase. That's the range I need to hit. And then you think, okay, what obstacles are going to run in, or am I going to run into that might make that hard? Oh, like I'm supposed to have lunch with my boss this afternoon, and they like to take us to Wendy's, so a fast food place. So I know I'm going to be limited in options. Let me think, okay, what at Wendy's can I get that will fit my goals a little bit better? That's not very high calorie. Maybe that's high in protein. Oh, like I can get a grilled chicken sandwich from there and a side salad, or maybe, a baked potato instead of a side salad, and a water or a diet pop. And that's going to fit pretty well with what I would normally have. And just taking that, like I just walked that through in literally, I don't know, I was looking at the time, maybe a minute, and just sitting and thinking those things through in the beginning of the day helps you develop that game plan, helps you to start your day with that purposeful intention that this client felt like she was lacking. And it's a game changer when you do that, because then you're not so reactive. You kind of approach each situation throughout the day and have somewhat of a game plan. And sure, like some things pop up that aren't expected. Maybe you were planning to have lunch yourself, and then all of a sudden right before lunch started, hey, your boss was like, hey, you want to go to Wendy's? And you're like, okay, because you don't want to say no to your boss. And then you have to think on the spot, right? But there are a lot of times where things don't pop up, but we still fail to follow through with our goals because we just don't take that minute or two, or those 15 minutes or those 30 minutes to really think through. And then you can also take that time to think as well, like if motivation is something you struggle with, use those 30 minutes to think, okay, like this is my long-term goal. These are the actions I have to take to get there. These are the barriers I might run into. And then ask yourself, why is achieving this goal even important to me? Like ask yourself every single morning, like, why is this long-term goal even important? And then answer that for yourself. Oh, because I, want to have more energy to play with my kids because that's important to me. I want to be able to take pictures with my kids or with family or friends and post them on social media and feel proud of them, when previously I never wanted to post pictures, or I never wanted to be tagged in pictures. Maybe health is a big reason of why you want to do this, because your health is declining. Maybe you just went to the doctors and you have high blood pressure or high cholesterol or high blood sugar, and that's something you want to improve. Like, remind yourself and ask yourself why this long-term goal is even important to you in the first place every single day. And like I said, it doesn't have to be something you write down or journal. You can just ask yourself these questions in your head. And this is something that I recently started doing these past couple of days. I started to make my mornings more intentional, even just these past 2 days after we've kind of moved in and got settled in. I've been waking up earlier. I've been waking up at like 5:45. I want to, get to waking up at 5:30, maybe even 5. We're getting there. But 5:45, when typically before I was waking up at maybe 6:30 or 7. So I'm giving myself an extra maybe 30 to 45 minutes in the morning. I'm reading for about 10 to 15 minutes after I have my breakfast each morning too. So I'm giving myself some extra time to do that. And then after I read, I sit there for maybe 5 to 10 minutes and think these things through in my head when it comes to my fitness goals, my career goals, my personal development goals, thinking these things through every single morning. So wake up, get ready myself, take the dog out, get her food, Aiden's still sleeping, have my breakfast, read for 10 to 15 minutes, sit there for 5 to 10 minutes and think these things through, and then I, go downstairs in my office and get ready, for work as long as Aiden isn't awake by then. So, like, I have that routine, and that whole routine really doesn't take that long, like maybe an extra 30 minutes throughout the day. And, if you find that, like, you don't have an extra 30 minutes, most of the time we can go to bed a little bit earlier to wake up a little bit earlier. Like maybe it's cutting out Netflix a little bit. Maybe it's cutting out some scrolling on your phone. Maybe it's cutting out some TV, at night. where those things like temporarily in the short term maybe comfort us, they lead to us, if that's causing us to not have that time in the morning, it's leading to us being more anxious and stressed the next day. So when you cut those things out or cut them short, that way you can get that sleep and wake up a little bit earlier and have that kind of quiet, you alone, calm, intentional thinking time. It makes all the difference. So just wanted to share that because it's something that I used to do really before Aiden was born pretty often. And I just kind of did it, and I didn't realize I stopped doing it until really just these like past couple of weeks. It really hit home to where like I was like, this stuff that I used to do in the morning, that extra 30 minutes that I had to read, to think through my day, to just have quiet, alone time of really thinking about what I want to accomplish today. It really hadn't been there for a long time. And even just the past 2 days, it's made a difference. And like I said, with this client and, her talking about her situation, it falls right in line with that we have to mentally be very intentional in the start of our day if we want the rest of our day to be successful, because how we start our day is typically how our day goes. And if we start our day in a very reactive, stressed, kind of chaotic, kind of scatterbrained state, and don't really have our intentions lined up in the beginning of the day, then that's probably how the rest of our day is going to go. So just wanted to share this. Hopefully this was helpful. If you do end up implementing this, definitely let me know. Message me, DM me, if you follow me on any social, and, share this on your page too, if you found it helpful, and share with me, if you started doing this and how much of an impact it'll make, because I promise you you'll start your days off more calm, with more intention, more purposeful. You'll hit your goals more because you reminded yourself of them and reminded yourself of why they're important to you. And you're actually going to, have a game plan for the entire day versus just going into the day, willy-nilly with, just taking whatever life throws at you. You'll be actually, what is that saying? Living your life versus your life living you. No, that's not the saying. I don't know, something along those lines. But that's about it for today. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Share it on your socials. Like I said, if you found it helpful, I really appreciate it. And I will see you guys in the next one.